Tommy's situation inside prison has taken yet another disturbing turn following the latest update from his team. The treatment he is facing inside HMP Woodhill continues to raise serious concerns, and with each new update, it becomes clearer that he is being deliberately targeted. In today's video, we'll be breaking down the most recent update from Tommy's team, detailing exactly what's happening to him inside the prison, the shocking new developments, and what steps are being taken to fight back against this mistreatment. This is information that needs to be heard, so make sure you stay tuned for the full update. Before we get into it, if you support what we're doing here, make sure to hit that like button. It really helps spread the word and get this information out to more people. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of the latest updates on Tommy's situation. Just a quick one to say we do have new One Kier t-shirts available on our website. Go to britishstand.com or check the link in the description. Now, let's get straight into it. We just received an update from Tommy's team, and the situation inside HMP Woodhill continues to deteriorate. They've confirmed that Tommy is still being denied access to the prison canteen. This means he is unable to purchase essential food supplies, including tinned food, which is one of the only ways he can ensure he gets enough to eat. This is a deliberate act. They are forcing him into starvation. There is no valid reason for this. It is not a mistake, nor is it due to prison policy. This is targeted mistreatment. Denying an inmate access to food is a serious human rights violation, and in this case, it appears to be part of a wider pattern of systematic abuse. But it doesn't stop there. His visitation rights are also being interfered with. Tommy was due to have visitors tomorrow, and just last Friday, the prison governor himself assured Tommy that the visit would go ahead. This visit was booked 2 weeks ago, giving ample time for any logistical arrangements to be made. And yet, yesterday at 1:30 p.m., an email was sent to a family member confirming that the visit was cancelled. What makes this even worse is that Tommy wasn't even told directly. He only found out through a phone call with a family member, long after the decision had already been made. This raises serious questions. Why was Tommy misled about the visitation going ahead? Why was his family not informed until the last minute? Why does HMP Woodhill continue to obstruct his access to basic necessities and support? Tommy's team believe this is an orchestrated attempt to break him mentally and physically. This is not about prison rules. This is about control, isolation, and psychological warfare. HMP Woodhill's actions are despicable. They are treating Tommy with spite and contempt, with no regard for his human rights or even basic decency. So, what happens next? Tommy's legal team is now involved. They have been made aware of these latest developments, and discussions will be taking place tomorrow about the next steps. Make no mistake, this fight is not over. Tommy's team is demanding answers, and they are exploring every legal avenue available to challenge this blatant mistreatment. We will bring you more updates as soon as we have them. For now, we ask everyone to stay informed, stay vocal, and continue to share this information. This cannot go unanswered. In other news, ill-advised sentencing reforms and a political drive to appear tough on crime have pushed Britain's justice system to the brink of collapse, according to a damning new report. The Independent Sentencing Review, published today, reveals how successive governments' knee-jerk policy changes have created an overwhelmed and ineffective system. The analysis found that despite falling crime rates since the mid-1990s, an over-reliance on longer prison sentences as punishment has left the justice system struggling to cope. The report criticizes policymakers for diverting resources away from probation services and effective alternatives to custody. The study found that rising prison populations cannot be attributed to any considered crime reduction strategy. Instead, the surge stems from successive governments responding to growing pressure to appear tough on crime, focusing on longer sentences rather than effective rehabilitation. The shift in political and media narrative began with the Criminal Justice Act 1991, as each government faced mounting pressure from opposition parties to demonstrate tougher stances on crime. This trend towards penal populism has created an increasingly complex legal landscape that erodes public understanding and confidence in the system. Public opinion remains skewed by press coverage of atypical cases, fostering incorrect beliefs that fewer people are being imprisoned, the review suggested. Former Independent Sentencing Review Chair David Galke delivered a stark assessment of the crisis. Last year, we were confronted with the consequences of decades of haphazard policymaking and underinvestment in the criminal justice system, bringing it to the brink of collapse, he said. He criticized politicians for operating in a vacuum, increasing sentences for individual crimes without considering wider systemic impacts. It is time to accept this does not deliver justice for victims, it fails them, Gorke warned. The report calls for an urgent rethink of how the justice system approaches punishment and rehabilitation. Key legislative changes have driven sentence inflation, including mandatory minimum sentences and the introduction of Schedule 21 for murder sentencing. Extended sentences and new release points for certain offenses have also contributed to the system's strain. Many reforms were implemented in response to tragic events, the report notes. While real-world cases should drive necessary change, the knock-on effects of such reforms have often been overlooked. This has created inconsistencies in the sentencing framework that can leave victims feeling a sense of injustice. The resulting patchwork of policies, introduced to correct earlier changes, has only added to the system's complexity. The report reveals stark statistics about the ineffectiveness of prison sentences in reducing reoffending. Offenders given custodial sentences show the highest reoffending rates at 37.2% overall. This figure rises dramatically to 56.9% for those serving short sentences under 12 months. Community orders or suspended sentences appear more effective at preventing repeat offenses, the analysis shows. Punishment will always be a central aim of the criminal justice system, but it is not the only aim, and prison is not the only form of punishment, Gorke stated. The strain on the system is further illustrated by the dramatic rise in recall prisoners. In 1993, fewer than 100 prisoners were in custody due to recall. This figure had surged to 9,000 by 2020 and reached 12,920 by the end of December 2024. The report identifies several factors behind this increase, including mandatory supervision periods for shorter sentences. Heightened risk aversion among probation officers following high-profile serious offenses covered by media has also contributed. The review is now examining how sentences are administered, including prison release points, community supervision periods, and the recall system. Lastly, palace sources have downplayed reports of a planned US visit by King Charles and Queen Camilla, claiming no formal arrangements are in place. A palace official claimed there are no plans or preliminary discussions regarding a potential trip to America. The source told the Daily Beast there is currently no formal invitation for a royal visit to the United States. Any such plans would need to be considered within the normal process and diary prioritization review, none of which has been undertaken for the coming year. The initial reports of a planned US visit emerged in the Mirror. However, a source close to the palace told the Daily Beast that the US is not currently on the royal calendar. The same source emphasized that whilst there remains a willingness to travel when and where required, this is always subject to standard protocols. A friend of the King and Queen indicated that whilst Charles would be keen to participate in any UK charm offensive toward President Trump, everything depends on his cancer treatment. What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comments section below. If you've not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.